Society, oh yeah, it's a high horror society, it's a high horror.
Hello and welcome to the High Horror Society. We have Zach and my good friend Kyle here as
Hello.
always.
Hello.
Hello. And tonight we watched the movie from 2007 called Murder Party.
Man, what a great movie.
It was a trip. It was interesting for sure.
It
right?
was a funny ass movie.
It was really funny.
It was perfect. I needed it for this week.
Yeah.
Been a crazy week at work, and this one
it's been a
definitely
week.
helped. Made me laugh and cheer me up. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to see just kind of like a silly movie, and you could tell like they were. I mean, we'll get into it a little more, but
Yes.
like you could just tell everyone had a good time with it. And
Oh, yeah.
so anyway, just kind of getting into it, and then we'll jump into like what we thought and everything. But so anyway, the cast of Murder Party is and I can say all the word names in this one.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I can say all of them this time, so it's not a big deal. Chris, here I'm gonna fuck it up already. Chris Sharp, Sandy Burnett, Mancoon Blair, Paul Goldblate, William Lacey, and Stacy Rock.
It's not too bad.
No, it was a small cast, but it was an ensemble cast. I think that's what they call it when everybody kind of has an equal like
Oh, okay.
designation in the role. Like everyone has equal screen time. There's not just like Tom Cruise is
Yeah,
the
main
guy
guy,
who you
yeah.
watch jump from plane to plane, like you know. So anyway, my official synopsis is Murder Party is a 2007 horror comedy written and directed and shot by Jeremy Saulnier, who also did Blue Rain, Green Room, and the reason I picked this movie was because this new movie came out on Netflix called Hold the Dark.
Hold the Dark.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that we should probably check that out. I think it's more of a thriller
Okay.
from what I read, but I will check out some of the reviews, see what they think, and if it fits for High Horror Society, we'll give it a go.
Let's do it. Text me
um,
that again later because
yes.
I already forgot it. So remind me and I'll
Hold
watch
the Dark. Don't worry,
Hold
I'm
the
making a
Dark.
list. I keep a list for us of everything we need to do. But yeah, I've seen Green Room by this gentleman before,
Okay.
and I heard of Blue Ruin, and I heard it was really good. I haven't watched it yet. I think that's also on Netflix. But Green Room is fucking amazing, man.
Is it scary or
No,
is
it's
it-
it's
just-
kind of like this one where it's like it has its moments of uber violence and stuff like that.
Okay.
But for the most part, I would say it's pretty tight knit. It's definitely more serious than Murder Party
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, this one is definitely just
Yeah, it's about
humor
yeah,
and killing
and yeah,
and
just,
gore.
just
but
silliness.
A lot of
Um,
silliness.
So yeah, this the synopsis for this movie.
Yes.
So on Halloween Eve in Brooklyn, an average Joe loser named Chris finds an invitation to a costume party. Arriving at the party, Chris discovers he's fallen prey to a lethal trap set by a deranged artist. As the night wears on, rivalries within the group flare up, and a body count accrues, and Chris must take advantage of the ensuing chaos if he's to survive the night. That was the first time. That was the first
That was pretty
go
good.
at it.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
right.
smooth.
I only fucked
Pretty
up one
smooth.
time. That wasn't bad.
See, you're getting better and better.
I am getting better at this. This podcast thing's
we
a
got
breeze.
this. I mean, we got a whole new set now.
a whole
with,
new setup.
like,
We have lights now, and the little guys are up front.
We got
in center,
Halloween coming.
and
We're
we
just
got
getting ready.
spiders, and all sorts of
Random guy
stuff. Random
face
face guy. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
watching down.
So yeah, we got a nice new little setup here. So
Yeah.
it's not too bad.
It's pretty sweet.
So
Moving up.
let's get into the fun facts.
Let's.
And there's a couple of them. There's a handful,
All right.
a nice handful. Yeah.
Decent.
So the group that made this movie, they call themselves the Lab of Madness, and they're a group of filmmakers, and they began making movies in grade school.
Oh, cool.
So we mentioned when we were watching the movie how it has that like that kind of like found footage is not the word I'm looking for, but like a homegrown kind of like homemade feel to it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you
It
could
has
tell
that,
everyone
yeah.
was very comfortable with each other.
Mhm.
They weren't afraid to be silly with each other. Yeah, you know, it just seemed like an overall good time, and that shone through in the
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You get the same feeling when you watch like Evil Dead and stuff like that too. Like
Yeah.
you could just tell it's just the people who are passionate about it.
Having a
and-
good time.
Yeah, having a good time.
Yeah.
And so yes, this Lab of Madness group. So while they were trying to get funding for this other movie they were making called Crab Walk, and they failed to get funding for it. So they literally just started making this Murder Party movie in August of 2005 with no money. Like,
oh wow.
and like we said, it looked like they just kind of like picked up the cameras and just like went with it, and
Yeah.
it seems like that's exactly what they did.
It worked out great.
And it fucking worked out. Like, there were some moments where it was a little like you could tell it was indie film and stuff like that. Like, it could have. Some of the acting and the action sequences were a little slow for what you'd expect a
Yeah.
human, how they would react. But
of course.
I mean, overall,
that's the funny part of it.
it was the
though.
funny.
It's like-
Yeah, exactly. It's what made it silly. Like when they're wrestling on the floor
Yeah, it's
together and
like-
shit like that. It's just like, oh my god, they're just like literally slapping on each other and stuff.
falling over instead of grabbing them.
Yeah,
like,
right.
it's
Yeah,
like it's just
falling over
sloppy.
'em.
Really
But
sloppy.
like it worked because like that kind of played into the whole like these are just like incompetent artists. Like they're just these frail beings who are
Yeah,
just like
they're
in
not
this art scene.
murderers.
Yeah, they're not murderers. They didn't think this through. Like, and you could tell by their like choice of weapons, like
Oh,
the
man.
chainsaw with the fucking electrical outlet and stuff. Just,
Extension cord
Yeah,
chainsaw.
just this ridiculous shit.
Something you wouldn't use.
Yeah, right.
for
So
a
anyway,
murder scene.
we're
Yeah.
getting off track
Yeah,
again.
j-
So
yeah.
we'll get to what we love.
Well,
We'll get there, guys.
We'll get
We
there.
apologize.
Eventually.
We have a problem.
we always do this.
We do. So it was shot on location in Brooklyn, New York. It won the Audience Award for Best Narrative Feature at the Slam Dance Film Festival in 2007. So
Cool.
that's kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
Some other awards it won. It won the Festival Award for Best Feature Film at the 2007 Vale Film Awards.
Nice.
It was also nominated for an Audience Award for Best Feature at the Toronto After Dark Film Fest, which is a big, not Hollywood, but a big horror film festival
okay.
that
Cool.
goes on every year, and they tend to put out a lot of the movies that like get a lot of notoriety there.
Nice.
I mentioned this while we were watching the movie, but when they were doing the truth serum scene, they were
Oh,
using
yeah.
actual hypodermic needles filled with saline. So I always wondered how they did that in movies. Like, what do they do and what do they use to inject? And like, apparently they just did it with saline. I don't know if anyone actually injected themselves with it, but
yeah.
it definitely looked like they were sticking
It looked
themselves
real.
with it.
Definitely.
Yeah, it looked pretty fucking real,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, it looked good. I liked it. It was honestly, that was the most uncomfortable part of the whole movie
yeah.
for me.
Watching
I
them
think.
doing it
The
to each
needle
other
thing.
or to themselves. like,
Chainsaw to the
ugh,
face, no. Axe to the skull, no.
Just those
but
needles.
the needle in the arm.
ugh.
It's the pulling. The part where that shows like the little
Yeah,
bit of
the
skin, like that
skin
kind of
pull up.
pulls as the needle comes out. That's the part that
That's
bugs
when
me.
you know it's real.
Yeah, because like exactly, that's exactly because you can't get that with anything else. Like,
Yeah, that'd be
I guess
hard
you can
to-
do like glue or something and make it look like that, but it would still, I don't know. But anyway, again, we're getting off topic.
Damn
Jesus
needles.
Christ, the things we think about. So the opening credits sequence was actually shot in October of 2005 before they even had a script. So like all the front stoops they showed of people's
Oh, yeah,
houses and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
and just the different shots. So
Okay.
that was made totally before they even had a script for the movie. So they
Nice.
kind of just knew they wanted to do like a Halloween theme thing.
They definitely had that Halloween like opening.
Oh, yeah.
Like definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was so cool. Halloween is my favorite time of the year.
Of
Obviously,
course.
I think it's your favorite time of the year too.
Yeah, definitely.
I just everything about it just
Besides when it rains on Halloween, I hate
which it
that.
seems to always rain on Halloween, but
It's
you
been
have
like 2 or
those
3 times.
few ones sprinkled throughout your childhood.
True.
That
We
kind
might have
of
to go somewhere, like go down to Florida or somewhere.
yeah, somewhere nice where
somewhere
it's
it's
not gonna
warm,
rain,
but it's still
Yeah.
Halloween.
But then, but the kind of the dampness of it is kind of part of it
True.
too. You know,
especially around here,
Yeah.
Midwest. Yeah.
yeah, it
You get
has
the
to be.
leaves, you get the kind of chill, but you're outside running around
Yeah.
having fun. Well, at least as a kid, not when you're 30 years old.
No, well, hopefully not. People just then you get
Yeah.
arrested.
Like,
But so anyway, yet again, we're getting off topic. Every time we do this, so the splatter effects were all done with practical
oh, cool.
effects, so no CGI there.
Bravo.
Yeah, bravo.
Bravo.
We love practical effects.
Love it.
We are big fans
Show
of
us
it at
your
the High Horror
creativity.
Society. Yeah, show us your gore and everything you got. We want to see it. And a leaf blower was used to make the party invitation float down the street in the beginning of the movie.
That's right.
So that's clever. Again, just
Yeah.
finding anything you had.
Exactly.
Like what do you do?
Like what we
fucking-
did here. Somehow
Yeah, let's
we-
just throw some
we
lights
did
on
this.
the fucking table. And how do we jazz it up? Let's throw some shit on the walls and
It
make it look
works.
good. It worked.
No,
Hey,
that's cool.
It
That's
kind
a-
of gives it a nice ambiance.
That's
like,
a good idea to use.
Yeah, I mean, again, using what you have access to.
Mhm.
And it looks like even like the warehouse that they were in looks like just something like maybe one of them, like the basement of one of their apartment buildings or something like that. You
Yeah.
know? It just was like this like open area, and 90% of the movie took place there, except at the end where they were running about and everything.
Which was on the roof of probably the warehouse.
Yeah,
so
right,
it's like
exactly. Just, they probably
nothing-
just used the same rooftop from different angles because it's like, how the hell?
It's a
I mean,
massive roof. Probably.
yeah,
It's
right. So apparently there was another actress that was supposed to play Lexi. They don't mention
Okay.
who it was supposed to be, but just that the role was meant for someone else.
all
I
right.
thought the girl that played it did
She
a
did
really
good.
good job.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
loved her Blade Runner costume. That was great, and definitely I love Blade Runner, so I had to, definitely give her props there. And then apparently at the end of the movie, instead of saying the end, it says "party's over."
Parties over.
Yeah, so that's another
I
little
didn't even
clever
catch
thing.
that.
Yeah. So, so nice fun facts, a nice little handful of them here.
I like that.
I only found one oopsie daisy.
Oh man, I
online.
didn't even notice. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't really notice
see
any either.
much.
I'm sure if I was paying attention more, I don't know. Maybe I gave this mentally gave this movie a little more leniency in my brain, thinking
True.
because
Yeah.
just
definitely.
kind of the feel of it. Like you're not if you're watching like a big budget movie, like there are people on staff who get paid a salary to do continuity and make sure like that shit doesn't happen
Really.
in a movie. Yeah,
It still misses. Like they still miss stuff.
it still
though.
happens sometimes.
That's crazy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Man, if I were that person, nothing gets by me.
Yeah, really, like-
oh no, we got to reshoot this whole thing.
Yeah,
now,
right.
'cause you were wearing the same tie.
Sometimes it's the director being like, I don't give a shit. Put it
True,
in,
yeah.
and
If
that
they say
happens too.
whatever,
Right. They're
yeah.
the director. They're the boss. Like you're just there as a support to provide assistance. But yeah. So like, I think I tend maybe mentally forgive more low budget movies because
Yeah.
of that. I don't know.
But
if
this one,
that's-
I didn't catch anything.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
really. I'm
besides-
trying to think of some parts, and like the only thing I could really think of is possibly like when the guy was like pouring the booze all over himself. Like maybe
Okay.
in some parts he wasn't like as like damp as others, but like again, I wasn't systematically looking for that kind of thing as if I would as in like another big budget movie, and I guess that's
Mhm.
just a bias on my part. But hey, I'm human, just like all of you listening.
Are
all
you-
3 of you that are listening to this.
You're human.
I'm human.
Oh,
I think I'm human.
I'm not. So.
Oh, don't. That's a different podcast entirely. If you want to start talking about that,
K-Bot
like,
is not.
yeah,
Just-
K-Bot. Oh, jeez, I was getting more into like the
Oh,
Matrix. Like this isn't reality. This is all a
Oh,
digital
man.
realm. But yeah, okay. But yeah, so the only oopsie daisy I was able to find online was that at the hour and 5-minute mark, apparently you could see the boom mic in the reflection of the window in the art
Oh.
gallery scene.
Oh.
So.
All right.
I probably didn't even notice because I was already looking at all the crazy crap on the art gallery. Like there were
True.
chairs there and like a
Yeah.
paper mache Vespa and like all sorts of crazy shit all over. So, and then the boobs, like I wasn't
Oh,
paying
yeah, of
attention
course.
because of the boobs.
Of course. Well,
Like,
they kept on going back.
They kept
to it,
showing
so,
them
I
on
mean,
purpose, like
they
because
made
the
us
guy
watch
was
it.
like looking back at him. I love that part. That was
He
just
kept
made me
going
laugh.
back.
He kept like looking around the room and kept looking at the tits. It was hysterical. So jumping right into the critical reviews, there was no official score on Rotten Tomatoes that I saw.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
the audience score was 59%, so it still had a higher than average percentage, I suppose.
All right.
On IMDb, it had a 6.1 out of 10, so still better than most.
Yeah.
And then on Shudder, which is Shudder is a horror movie website, and I think it's also a service, like a streaming service.
Oh, okay.
At least they offer one, like a monthly thing, like a Netflix. But it's like specific to horror movies.
Oh, cool.
They gave it a 4 out of 5. Shudder did,
Nice.
which honestly I would say. So yeah, we'll get into our own
Yeah,
reviews.
well-
So yeah, we'll jump into it. But yeah, so I didn't find any other reviews on this movie. We watched it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the only reason I knew it was on Netflix was because I saw the trailer for that Hold the Dark movie, and I saw that it was done by the same guy who did Green Room and Blue Ruin. Green Room, which I loved, Blue Ruin, which I have yet to see, but it's definitely on my watch list. My brother Connor loves it. He says it's great. So,
All right.
you know, he's a big
Cool.
film snob.
Is
so.
it on Netflix too? or
I don't
is
know.
it,
I think it was. I'll have to
Okay.
check. I'm pretty sure it is. If not, we could find it on Amazon Prime or
Yeah,
some
we'll
shit
find
like
it.
that. Yeah, we'll get it.
it's out there.
Yeah, and so yeah, I saw that trailer and I was intrigued to watch this because I saw that this was his first movie and like, hey, what better way to kind of like check it out? And then I saw it was a Halloween movie. It's the first week of October. We were definitely
perfect.
jumping right into Halloween,
Oh,
as you
yeah.
could tell. Look at these decorations on these walls. Look at craziness here. We spent a half hour. This took a half hour.
It was about a half an hour.
This
I
took
mean, the
us-
cobwebs
This
were.
took
these
two
cobwebs were the
grown men a
worst.
half hour to put together.
We already had these toy figures.
We already had the
so
toys.
These guys, yeah.
Yeah. And most of it was all put together in the last 5 minutes of trying to figure out what to do
Yeah.
and opening all the stuff.
Yeah. But it's those cobwebs, man. Those are the
The
worst.
cobwebs were the worst. So the
Took
people
you
in the
about 10
podcast are
minutes.
probably like, what are they talking about? We have a bunch of like Halloween crap
Really,
behind us.
It's like Dollar Tree.
That's
like,
just worse than
it's,
real
I don't even know what
cobwebs.
Look,
I
don't
know,
know.
it sticks to like it sticks to like the little. It's like Velcro. Your fingers are like
you can't even
Velcro
pull
to
it apart.
Yeah,
it just
like,
gets clumpy.
Yeah.
and clumpier.
That's what took the longest
it.
time, was spreading all the cobweb out and make it look real and make it not look clumpy.
And now we'll have to take it down and put it upstairs because the wife needs it back.
Oh,
so
jeez.
we'll have to go buy some
I would
new
I'll buy her
decorations.
some more. Yeah.
Can we just keep this here? Because we don't want to
we
do this.
we don't feel like doing this
We'll buy
again.
new decorations.
We could
Hmm.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's
Go back to the podcast.
go back to the podcast
Right.
now after 5 minutes of talking about the decorations on the wall. So, closing thoughts. Well, not closing thoughts. I always say closing thoughts and correct myself. So, High Horror Society thoughts. Go ahead, Kyle. Lay it on us.
Oh man, you always put me on the spot. That
I
I
got
don't know
to.
what to say, and then it's like, oh.
Do you want me to go first?
No, it's fine. Like I said in the beginning, this movie was perfect for at least me because like the week has been crazy with work and stuff, and this just made me laugh, hang out, have a good time, and yeah, it cheered me up. It was perfect. Good job, movie. You
Yeah.
did your job. Awesome.
I agree. I definitely agree. It is it's definitely a movie you put on when you're just kind of trying to chill and just hanging out with your friends and just, again, like we always tend to find these movies like
Mhm.
Deathgasm was very similar. Beyond the Gates, again, that was kind of another silly
Yeah,
weird
not
movie.
as silly, but it was
not
there.
as silly as Murder Party for sure, but it was still a
It was still
silly,
there,
weird
yeah.
movie. I love those movies. They really do have a special place in my heart because, again, you can see the passion
Mhm.
behind the filmmakers. They're clearly indie films. They're clearly like us, just trying to like get something done,
Yeah,
and knowing that you're not gonna make any money doing it,
Yeah.
because there's no money in indie filmmaking at all.
Of
Like
course
you do
not.
it hoping to land a big picture somewhere, but a lot of times you just do it because you fucking like it and
yeah.
it's fun to create.
Mhm.
It's life is stagnant otherwise, and you have
This
to
one
pursue.
definitely seemed fun to create.
It did. It seemed like they were just, and you could tell just from the costumes too. Like the girl was dressed up like Pris or whatever her name is from Blade Runner.
Mhm.
The guy was dressed up like the one of the gang members from the
Oh, yeah.
Warriors.
Yeah, and they even
Um,
used that reference.
Yeah,
with
he
the
even used the
Warriors, like-
reference when the guy walked. He
that was
walked
funny.
into the art gallery. Yeah, he was like, "Hey, I like your costume. I can dig it." That was funny because again, if you like the Warriors, they do the "I can you dig it." Again, another awesome movie. Not necessarily horror. We need
No.
to start another podcast for like just cool like
All right.
post-apocalyptic sci-fi like movies like Escape from New York and The Warriors and shit. But
Let's do it.
even though it's not post-apocalyptic, but it's still kind of like collapse era. Like
It
the
seemed
world's
like it, yeah.
gone to shit.
And there's gangs just taking
Yeah,
over a
gangs
little.
all over the place. The Warriors got to get home, and they do. But anyway, this isn't about the Warriors. But it, and the other costumes, one guy was the Wolf Man.
Oh,
he just had
man.
and
That
I
was
loved how they went
awesome.
like through like. They clearly had like the people who really tried their costumes, and then they had the one photographer guy who had like, he had the jacket, and
Yeah.
he had the things, and
the
he had
real
the whole get-up.
vampire thing.
Yeah, and he was like, "I'm a gothic vampire from the 1800s," and then you just had the lazy guy in the hoodie who probably just wears that same shit every day, who just put a wolf mask on.
yeah, oh,
And
yeah.
so it like ran the gamut, like you had every type of cliche, like the
Yeah.
person who goes all out for their Halloween costume,
And
then
the
you have
lazy
like the
drunk
zombie
guy.
cheerleader, and then the lazy drunk druggy guy who just puts on the fucking mask and is like,
Oh, man.
"Rah," and it works. It
It was
worked well.
perfect. Yeah.
Everybody played their part really well. The acting was solid. It was silly. It was entertaining. Like the scene where they took the truth serum and they're going around, it seemed kind of long to me, but like it was also interesting because like it. And we talked about this when we were watching the movie, how and at the beginning of the podcast, how these are just frail, like starving artists who are just trying to make it on this New York art scene, and like they don't know how to murder. They just are fucking so full of themselves. Like, and it's definitely a social, a commentary for sure.
Yeah.
But like they're so full of themselves that like life is just like they have no qualms about ending a life to pursue a career, like, and it's just like that mentality where like, you're willing to do anything to have that 15 minutes of fame or
pretty much
to get ahead in
they
life.
were going to kill somebody for the images to use as their art pretty much.
Exactly.
But then the truth serum really revealed their truth,
their frailty and stuff. And they even said, we're all insecure of you, Bill, because you're a better fucking artist than we are.
That's why
we
we're
all
kicking
hate
you out.
and we're kicking you out of the collective because you're a fucking asshole. But yeah, it made him more real and it made him more sympathetic in a way. Like you got the impression that they kind of just were coaxed into this by somebody, and they were. And, like you find out that like this Alexander guy kind of put on the whole thing.
He got a second dose of truth.
Yeah, he got a second dose. He probably didn't even take the first dose, honestly.
Not,
but
no. He was all coked out anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I want some crank, man.
The poor dog.
Give me a big bag of crank. Yeah, he got his revenge. So that fucking dog, poor dog, was tied up outside that whole night.
Son of a bitch.
Tisk.
How dare
so, needless to say, I really enjoyed this movie a lot, more than I thought I would. It was silly. It had its moments, like I said, where it was just like, okay, what's going on here? Like they're wrestling, and like Kyle said, they're just falling over each other. But it was definitely intentional, and it was definitely show like how like incompetent and weak these people are, and like they don't have it together.
No,
and, like,
especially the food part was
when they're ordering the food, they're all
Let's
talking
get
like
Chinese.
that was a great scene too. Like that, again, another humanizing scene. Like here they are in the midst of trying to kill somebody, and yet they're talking about what they're gonna go out to eat and like what they hate and what they don't like. Like
I don't like pizza.
The one guy's like burgers, and the girl's like, I'm not hungry. Like so bitchy. Like, but she just mentioned how like she would do sushi or she would do like whatever. Like again, it's snobby bullshit. But it played very well to the character type.
Oh yeah,
and
it was perfect.
It worked. I think it worked out really well. So overall, I would have to say I think I'm right there with Shudder on this one, saying 4 out of 5.
Definitely.
I think, are we doing 4 out of 5 or out of 10 this week?
I don't know.
Okay, so I give it an 8 out of 10.
All right, if the 8 out of 10 is a 4 out of 5.
8 out of 10 or a 4 out of 5.
That
whatever.
sounds about right.
However the math works.
Yeah.
Whatever. I enjoyed it enough to watch it again.
It was great.
Yeah, it's, you know what? Also, it's another one of those perfect Halloween movies where it's just silly fun. The movie takes place on Halloween, which obviously has probably something to do with why I would recommend it as a Halloween movie. But it just has that feel to it. Like it kind of brought you back to when you were a kid and you watched those types of like silly, weird horror
the
movies.
Little kid movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are
it's like those little kid horror movies,
I'm trying
but
to think
like
of the name of that
blown
one.
up like into like this spectacle, and it was done really well. And I'm glad that this the filmmakers getting like more movies made. Like Blue Ruin got a lot of notoriety, and Green Room, which was I loved. It was great. We should definitely watch it. It has Patrick Stewart,
Nice.
Professor Xavier from the X-Men movies, and he plays a Nazi basically who runs like a bar nightclub for Nazis, and like it's insane. It's awesome. You'll love it.
Sounds interesting.
It is really good, and he does a really good job of it. And there's not a lot of gore in that one either, but there are a few key scenes where you're just like, oh fuck, just like this movie where like it wasn't nothing was really happening until like the end. Like there was the one scene where the girl fell on the thing. I love that. And she sits up and she's like, "Do you guys smell cut grass?" And it's just like the blood is spewing out of her head, and she falls on the
she
floor.
Collapses over.
And they throw her in the broken fridge or freezer or whatever it is. God, that poor girl.
Oh man, yeah. The murder scenes were pretty good.
They were good, and again, it plays plays to their incompetence.
Yeah.
You know, like
just sloppy.
yeah,
Sloppy
the,
murder.
The one guy tries to throw acid on him, and it ends up just being a jug of vinegar, and
oh
because he
my
just
God.
read acid on the fucking label.
It's so funny.
Yeah, everyone just kind of either kills themselves or gets murdered in like a ridiculous way, or just gets hit
Yeah.
in the head with an axe. And then, of course, the end is what I thought was the best kill. Was I don't want to ruin it for you guys,
Yeah,
but it was
we
cool.
shouldn't ruin it.
Yeah,
It was the perfect.
It was
the
perfect.
ending.
Yeah. And then
Perfect
I loved how it just like ended. Like it was just like that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
It's just there's a
Is that all?
small little glimpse into these characters' lives and the fucking chaos that ensues, and just bloop, there you go. I love
All
I love
done.
shit like that, man.
It's so
God,
funny.
I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen Murder Party on Netflix, check it out. It's
Go now.
yeah. I think if you're into movies like Evil Dead 2 and Deathgasm and Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, just like these silly, campy, gory, fun movies, I
Yeah.
think you'll definitely enjoy it. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for
8
me.
out of 10, 4 out of 5.
4
8
out of
10
5.
for me.
We got it in the bag. We'll figure out what we're doing eventually, folks. Don't worry.
One of the two.
One of the two. We'll
But-
figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe
Good
we should do
job,
like
Murder Party.
zombie thumbs up or down, or is that too
Ooh.
cliche for horror? That
I
might
don't-
be too
Is anybody
cliche.
else doing that?
I don't know. I think zombies are a bit overdone now. After
What's-
The Walking Dead, it's been on for 10 fucking years. I
Wha-
think it's time to.
What's the next? Well, we have the zombie hand with a mic for our
I don't
logo.
know. I think the next stuff is like sci-fi horror. Like it's gonna be
Sci-fi.
really big. I think.
we could do a sci-fi zombie hand.
Ooh, sci-fi zombie hands, astronaut zombie hands. Thumbs down.
That's kind of cool.
That'd
Zombie
work.
astronaut.
We'll change it up.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure out what we're doing eventually.
Yeah. Sooner or later.
All right, excellent. Thank you guys. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
It's the high horror.